Hi everybody, my name is Austin Hirschberger and this is my video for AEP 858 Module 5. The tweet I found, data is not the goal, it is a means to an end. Understanding the whole child with all the data, academic, behavior, and culture. Basically this means that we can't just look at test scores as the data. We've got to understand where our students are coming from, what their backgrounds are, and really understanding the whole student before we can understand the test score numbers. In my video, I wanted to compare and contrast the two schools that I'm shared between. They're both in the same district, however, as we're going to find out, they're kind of on complete opposite sides of the spectrum as far as economically disadvantaged and student population and such. At GRE, they've got 39 staff members. At Linwood, we've got 26. Glenwood Ridge is in Basehor, Kansas, which is a population over 6,000, and Linwood has a population under 400. So it's a rural community. As you can see, the population of Linwood is not a whole lot greater than the enrollment size at GRE. Which is 359 students. The racial numbers are pretty similar as far as percentages. Looking at the students with disabilities, Glenwood Ridge has a little less. They're at 15.88% students with disabilities, while Linwood is at just over 19% students with disabilities. Economically disadvantaged is really different. GRE has 8.9%, while Linwood has 20% economically disadvantaged students, which is fairly high. How do we do business? This area, they're both pretty similar. They have established families, low staff turnover, close-knit community, and highly involved parent organizations. All right, where are we now? Both schools test through the MAP testing. I'm going to focus just on Glenwood Ridge right now. They have high math scores. 62.99% of the students are at either a level 3 or level 4 on their math scores compared to the state average, which is 32.64%. In 2017, Glenwood Ridge had average scores, fairly average at 44%. However, it's risen each year since 2017, so they're trending in the right direction. High reading scores at GRE, 62.63%, are at a level 3 or level 4 compared to the 36.58% average for the state. However, their reading scores at GRE have declined since 2015 when they were at the highest that they've been at 72.38% students at level 3 or level 4. And now it's kind of gone back up since 2017. Looking at Linwood, they've got average math scores. 43.13% of the students are at a level 3 or level 4. Pretty similar to what it was in 2015. However, last year they were high scores at 57.37% and have dropped by over 14% this year. Average reading scores, again, at Linwood with 44.22% students at level 3 or level 4. In 2015, they had really high reading scores, 61.89% were at a level 3 or level 4. And then last year they were the highest that they've ever been at 67.21%. So they have dropped by almost 23% since last year. How effective are our processes in our district? Our district uses Skyward, which I touched on in the last module. I think that it lacks data. It does a lot of day-to-day stuff as far as rosters and assignments, but really we haven't been trained on how to really look into all the data that's collected through it. We use MTSS, multi-tiered support systems, for reading and math in our district. We are moving towards conscious discipline. Really, we're trying to do that at every school in the district. And then a lot of our teachers use Kagan strategies in their classrooms. And then we are currently aligning curriculum, which I'll touch on here in a little bit, between our cadres, which each cadre is like all of our 4th grade teachers, all of our 3rd grade teachers, and so on in our district. And then we have cadres that are subjects, and we're really trying to align those and make sure that they are consistent across schools. Where do we want to be? Why do we exist? Our KISA, I wanted to focus on KISA. Our district identified responsive cultures and relationships focused at our building, so our building has goals that align with those parts of the KISA, and then that aligns with our district goals. In our district, you hear the term the Bobcat Way a lot. Basically, what the Bobcat Way means is teaching our students to be respectful of others, respect education, show good sportsmanship, pride, equality, character, and trust. So that's kind of our slogan in our district is the Bobcat Way. Where do we want to go? Our district focuses a lot, and this kind of ties back to my the tweet that I found. Teach the whole student. So we have social emotional learning is a big focus in our district. And then as far as our cadres and aligning across the board, we were focusing on common assessments, so doing the same assessments, no matter the subject or grade level at every school. That way we know how our students are progressing and we can track them better as they develop. And then identifying priority standards in our cadres. All right, diving into the scores, how did we get to where we are at? All right, so focusing on the GRE math scores, you can see over here how I kind of talked about earlier. They were kind of trending in the wrong direction until 2017, and then now they're kind of going more in the right direction. You want to see these green and blue columns kind of shifting more towards the left, which is what they're doing over there at GRE, which is good. Over here at Linwood, you can see that they are trending in the wrong direction. So their red and their yellow boxes are getting bigger. They're trending more towards the right, and as those get bigger, the green and the blue columns are getting smaller. So we're getting more students over there that are level 1 and level 2, and losing level 3 and level 4 students. Looking at the reading scores again, kind of the same thing at GRE. They're beginning to trend in the right direction. They're going slower, but they are moving to the left, which is good as far as the green and the blue. So gaining level 3 and level 4 students at Linwood. Same thing as the reading or the math scores. They're trending more in the opposite direction of where they should be going. They're shifting right. How did we get to where we are at? As I touched on when I was comparing my schools, there's a greater percentage of economically disadvantaged students at Linwood. This could play a factor. Math scores at each schools are on the opposite trend. We're increasing the number of math level 1 students at Linwood, while it is decreasing at GRE, which is good for GRE, but not so good for Linwood. Decreasing the number of level 4 students at Linwood, and then increasing at GRE. Our math interventionist, I believe this plays a factor in that. She's new this year. This is the first year that we've had a math interventionist at either school. However, she is shared at Linwood and GRE, kind of like I am. And our time at Linwood is a lot less than the GRE time that we spend over there, just because of the student population. So the students at Linwood are really given a disservice, in my opinion, because they have less students. They don't get their specials teachers and the interventionists as often as the GRE students do. The reading scores at each school have remained steady over the last 5 years. Linwood's reading scores this year have dropped by almost 23%. I think this is due to last year we had what we called Bulldog Power Time, where specialist teachers such as myself were used as interventionists through the MTSS groups. This year there are no MTSS reading groups at Linwood. The only person who does any sort of reading interventionist is the full-time reading specialist at Linwood. How are we going to get to where we want to be? How can we get to where we want to be? In my opinion, we need a full-time reading and math interventionist at each school. Although the numbers at Linwood are a lot less than GRE, I still think those students should be treated equally and with equity, just as the GRE students are. So they need a full-time math interventionist, in my opinion, just like they have a full-time reading interventionist over there. The reading interventionists and the math interventionists have primarily focused on the level 1 students. So I think those level 2 students kind of get left out a little bit. So I think if we had a full-time math interventionist at Linwood, they would have more time to focus on not only the level 1 students, but the level 2 students as well in reading and math. How will we implement this? Specials teachers, music, art, PE, library, will be split among reading and math subgroups. So far in the past, we've all either been, last year we were all reading MTSS interventionists, and then this year we're all math interventionists. I think they need to split us up. Some of us are reading, some of us are math. That way we get to focus on both of those and not one subject gets left out. The logistical problem with this is there needs to be an adjustment to our master schedule to allow more intervention time at Linwood. So the problem has been is that we have by the time our class gets out, we have to travel to GRE. We have about 15, 20 minutes to even work with students. So it's not a whole lot of time. So if we could have more time, 30 minutes at Linwood between classes and then have enough time to travel to GRE2, we would be able to focus on the math and reading interventions more at Linwood before we go to the next school. Adding MTSS reading time along with the MTSS math time. So at Linwood, there's just math time. There needs to be reading and math. Is what we are doing making a difference? How will we evaluate our efforts? So MAP testing data is used for level 3 and level 4 students, and then to evaluate the level 1 and level 2 students, MTSS, the reading interventionist, and the math interventionist would be testing level 1 and level 2 students more often than level 3 and level 4 students through the MTSS. All right, thanks for watching.